Alrighty. The unceasing agony of podcasts.
Podcasting. I don't really have a fun intro for this one. I'm so sick of podcasting, guys. It started out as something non-threatening and just like kind of chill, and it has just gotten so goddamn out of hand. I'm sick of listening to podcasts. I'm sick of hearing people suggest podcasts for me. I'm sick of podcasters in general. Podcasts are just out of control, and I'm gonna bitch about it for the next whatever, how long.
Okay.
So I have compiled a list of a bunch of things that make me super mad about podcasts. I'm not gonna dress this up and pretend like it's more than it is. I need to vent, and I'm gonna explode all over my viewership.
Okay.
I don't take that back. Number one, they make me think too much. When I put my headphones in...
They make me think too much. Well, yeah, podcasting is long form source of content. You know, you have every type of length of content known to man, at least in video form. You got TikTok, which is a couple seconds or whatever. You got YouTube videos where they're a couple minutes, maybe even a little bit longer, in like 10-20 minute, like this one. And then you have podcast form, which usually go on for, you know, at minimum, I would say at least 2+ hours is like the standard length, more or less. So I think it's fine to have a bunch of different lengths of sources of content. What's wrong with that?
I want my brain to stop working. I'm listening...
Well, if you want your brain to stop working, go watch some TikToks.
...to music. I listen to music when I'm walking, when I'm on public transport, when I'm working out, if I ever work out, or when I'm like cleaning. I just want to fade out and stop existing while I listen to some Alex G or...
I mean, you could easily do that with TikTok as well, or YouTube Shorts. Either or.
Noah Khan. I don't want to devote that time to a middle-aged white man whose sole purpose is to let me know that the world is ending, or that I need to lose some weight, or that the fucking people kill each other a lot for no reason. Number two, people are constantly asking me if I've heard their favorite podcast, which is an insane thing to do. That's like...
Okay, that is a little weird, I think. But I don't know. I don't have this issue with the people that I work with or any of my friends. I have never had someone refer a podcast to me.
Walking up to somebody and asking them, have you met Carl? Who the fuck is Carl? There's a million Carls. Why would I know that one Carl? Every day I'm getting texts from my friends or my mom, or mostly my mom, giving me new podcasts to try out. Have you...
Oh my god. Oh, this is so funny.
You heard of Armchair Expert? Oh, you gotta listen to Distractable. Have you ever heard of My Brother, and Me?
Bro, I haven't heard of any of these podcasts. Okay? I heard of Joe Rogan, H3, and maybe like one or two other ones. I don't know about any of the... okay, so maybe I lied a little bit. I know about like the comedy podcasts. Like the people, like the Joe Rogan Circle, those guys' podcasts, but I don't I know of them, but I don't watch them. Like I know that guy, that comedian has a podcast, that one has a podcast, and then it'll be random if I watch it or not. But I kind of get what you're saying.
Me? Oh, last podcast on the left is the best one ever. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. God, there's so many. If your podcast is good enough, I will see the best clips of it on TikTok. Okay? Number three is time. I don't have it. How do people even come up with all the time to listen to all these podcasts? I know.
Okay. This is literally the best example. When motherfuckers are going to work, when they don't want to go to work, to and from the job, I'm listening to some podcasts, all right? And in so doing that, I can knock out a 2 to 3 hour podcast in a couple days, all right? It's just that simple. I listen to it going down the road. All right, that's it.
No, you can listen to it like whenever you're driving to work or whatever, and I don't drive to work, so I understand that. But Jesus Christ, people who listen to multiple podcasts at once, they're all 3 hours long, and there's...
Oh yeah, what? People do that? Listening to multiple wait, what is this? Amount of podcast episode typically listened to, U.S. online monthly podcast consumers 12 plus. 52% of people listen to the entire podcast in one shot. About half. Okay. And then most about 41% of the people listen to most of the podcast. So I would assume that's like somewhere around 51% or whatever. And less than half, about 5% of people. Okay, this is probably where I would be at. Well, here. Where would I be if I break up the podcast into like days that I go to work? Like, I'll listen to like 30 minutes at a time and then just pause it when I get to work. And then whenever I'm driving back, I just turn it back on. So like, what? So 5% of the people listen to less than half of the podcast. So about 49%. I would probably be right here in one go. And then only 2% of the people, who are these maniacs just listening to the beginning of the podcast? So what is this? Like the first 5 to 10 minutes? And then, well, maybe that's because people have like shorter commutes to work. Like maybe, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 minutes. Whereas some people have to drive 30 plus minutes. Maybe that's what that is. I'm not sure.
There's a billion of them. Do you just sit in your living room like it's the 1930s, huddled next to your radio, listening?
No. Like, who does that? No. I can't imagine a time when people did this. But I get what you're saying. But no.
To Frankie D give out that fireside chat. I like visual media. I don't read books unless they have pictures in them. I need something. And last but not least, Jesus Christ, everybody has one, and they're all terrible. Have you ever been sitting next to a bonfire, hanging out with the bros?
Well, here, surprise, surprise. Once you talk to a person enough, you realize how uninteresting they are. I don't care how influential they are. At the crux of it, most people, for the most part, have like one thing about them that makes them interesting, and the rest of them is boring as shit. All right, that's literally what it is. Okay, most people, even myself, I'm pretty fucking boring once you dig through like the surface layer shit of video games and to aim training and like social media bullshit, whatever. Surprise.
Just having a lovely chat. And then one of the fellas leans in and says one of the most disgusting phrases ever uttered. Hey, we should start a podcast. It is the peak of human ignorance to assume anyone besides you and your friends should listen to the conversation between you and your friends. You're not that funny. You're only funny because you're with your friends. Because they think you're funny. Because they're your friends. If a bunch of people wanted to hear you talk, you'd have a bunch of friends. Because they all...
Bro, isn't that how most podcasts just start? Bro, that's how the Joe Rogan podcast started. It was just him bullshitting with some of his friends. And then, he always says this, like, it got bigger than what it was initially supposed to be. All right? That's all it ever was, and that's all he ever thinks it is.
I want to hang out with you. Is it making sense? God damn it, it's just insane. And now they're renting out podcast studios like they're escape rooms.
Okay, that is a little weird. Like, people, like, going hardcore into like business mode with this shit. Like, oh, the podcast room, I gotta have like 5 PCs hooked up to this gigantic mixer, and there's 10 mics all around like a circular, maybe an oblong shaped table, so it's like a V or whatever. So there's like the full camera shot of like the entire table, another camera on one side of the table, another camera on the other side of the table, and maybe another camera on top of the center one to zoom in on the 3 people, and then another single camera for the host, another camera for the co-host, maybe another separate camera for like one of the guests or some shit. And there's these kind of mics. There are these kind of mics, the Shure SMB ones. Bro, if I could go back like 5 or 10 years and put money into stocks, like I would put it into the Shure fucking company. These guys are killing it. Okay? Absolutely killing it. With the amount of this type of mic that I see motherfuckers rolling around with. It's insane.
Assuming they have the same turnover. There are over 5 million podcasts on Spotify.
Holy shit. Oh my god. But everybody only listens to Joe Rogan most of the time.
5 million. million. That's 5 million groups of people, not individual people, groups of people, assuming that they're interesting enough for people to tune in. You know what else has a population of 5 million? Ireland. The entire country of Ireland has 5 million people in it. And that's as many self-absorbed assholes that are on Spotify right now. God damn, do I hate podcasts.
The insufferable types of podcast listeners. Oh my god, I might be in here.
So now let's discuss the types of folks that are super duper in deep on podcasts. There are many different versions of this type of person, and all of them are relatively insufferable compared to the common man. Trigger warning, I will be-
Bro, I am not.
using hyperbole and blanket statements for the next few minutes. First off, we have the true crime girl. These girls usually have a look to them that is innocent, like they wouldn't hurt a fly. But in reality, these girls would take that fly, pin it to a block of foam while it's still alive, then systematically remove its wings and skin to see how it would react. Because they are insane. They're just on trains casually listening to the most gruesome depictions of murder and cannibalism you've ever heard in your life. Just with a blank stare, a slight smirk, as if the words they're hearing wouldn't kill a pilgrim. Something about the modern era has turned common women into murder fantasizing machines. And gosh darn it if that doesn't turn me on a little bit. And then we have the history bro. These guys, thankfully, are not as pushy as trying to get you into a podcast as the other ones. That's only-
Bro, the history bros have some of the widest ranging personalities I can imagine. You got the lefties and the righties all trying to get, what's the real history? The one that's not covered up by the government. And, you know, you have the Alex Jones enjoyers, and then you got the dark horse enjoyers, and you just got all these guys trying to get, what's the real thing? What team am I on that was the most right? Jesus.
Because they're painfully aware that listening to a 30-part podcast on the Gettysburg Address will only hurt their social standing. The issue is these dudes' heads are now full to the brim with useless facts about the past, and they have to try and slip these facts into normal conversation lest they go insane. And it would—
Yes, I actually have a buddy that casually enjoys history, and he cannot help, I don't know if he listens to podcasts anymore, but he cannot help to insert random historical facts. And anytime I try to change the subject, he's like, "Well, oh, okay, one more thing. Okay, let me just complete this. One more thing, okay?" I'm just like, "Bro, save me, Jesus."
It would be impressive that you know the exact age Stonewall Jackson died at if I didn't know you listened to it 30 minutes ago. So,
bro, these guys, when the history subject on Jeopardy pops up, these guys are gods, literal gods. Okay? That's their only saving grace.
You know, stop telling me about history. Then we have health moms, my least favorite type of podcast person. We all know an almond mom between the ages of late 30s to early 50s that are just dead set on trying out whatever trend the recent health podcast has told them to do. Intermittent fasting, magnesium supplements, juice cleanses. It's not about exercise, it's about the diet. It's not about the diet, it's about the exercise. I honestly couldn't believe how many health guru podcasts there were out there until I looked it up, and now I feel sick how many people are peddling their nonsense. And these ladies just go out into the world pushing their weird health choices onto family, friends, and strangers alike. They've all convinced themselves somehow that baking powder causes cancer and that one soda will kill your child. Mom,
what?
You would never let me
oh my god, his mom did that.
have a Coke as a child, Mom. And then finally we have the alpha male white boys, which have gotten a lot of attention.
Here we
know these dudes who listen to these dudes. We've all
oh yeah, here we go. Yep. The trifecta. I don't know who this dude is, but I know these dudes.
seen them. If you personally are a podcaster that's creating content that makes Joe Rogan look rational and smart, then you probably are the worst. And these kids are eating this shit up. They love this type of podcast, which is kind of good because on one hand, they're all becoming self-sufficient willpower monsters who are fitness freaks that, you know, are making themselves better people. But on the other hand, they're going into Instagram comment sections and calling women whores.
Okay, the first part was fine with like working out and having like going out, making money and all that shit. This is the part that is a little cringe. What is this? A grown-up say an apple a day keeps the doctor away, but Elmo loves fruit, so Elmo will have an orange too. Ha ha ha. I don't know if this is real or fake. This is the official Elmo, I don't know, Instagram. I love oranges too. Oh, the wrong two. And they corrected Elmo the goat. What? How is this like weird?
So and the trade-off.
That's like that whole little interaction. It was just like those were like bot comments to me. That's what it sounded like.
There's a trade-off.
The money
so while
is
doing
nutty.
research for this video, I found out how much money podcasters can make, and I was unaware of how much you can make in terms of all-around revenue.
Revenue stream. Podcast advertising revenues are expected to grow rapidly. And here we go. Popping off. 2018. Hey, here's 2020. And between 2020 and 2021, that thing happened. And then here we are in 2022. And then here comes 2023. Real numbers, estimates. Oh boy. And this is United States dollar dues in the millions. What is this? 200 million? 600 million? So on and so forth? Or wait, is this supposed to be 600 or like, are these like hundreds of thousands and this is like millions? I'm not sure. Whatever. Regardless, that's a lot. And is that like per year? I take it. Bro, that's crazy. I need to start a goddamn podcast. What the fuck? I am slacking.
When you have a podcast. I thought the point of a podcast was to promote your other content, which makes more money, but no. You can actually create generational wealth by just sitting down with a couple of your bros.
Bro, the power of compound interest. Starting point, 5K. In 5 years, it grows that. And then 10 years that. 15, 20, 30 years. Wait, what is this? Oh, interest. Principal value. Starting deposit. Okay, whatever. It make more money. The more time go on, the more money.
And creating a podcast called Come Town. Through downloads, ads, and brand deals, podcasters can make an unbelievable amount of money. So that being said, it's time to play America's favorite game show, Guess That Obscene Profit. First up, we have the big dog, Joe Rogan from the Joe Rogan Experience. Any guesses for what America's sweetheart makes a year? Well,
he had that one Spotify deal for a couple $100 million.
According to this report, Joe Rogan is pulling in $100,000 per episode uploaded to Spotify. And he uploads about 3 episodes a week, so per year, Joe Rogan is making $15,600,000 a year for just...
That is a nominal amount of money.
Sitting down and talking like an ape. And this is not even including the exclusivity.
Bro, I wish I could sit down and talk like an ape and make fucking 15 mil a year.
Podcast contract he has with Spotify where he made reportedly $200 million. So I'm going to end my... Next up, we have Alex Cooper from Call Her Daddy fame, an interviewer who is crushing the game with such riveting questions as, really? And, oh wow. So she's fantastic. She deserves...
Oh wow.
Everything she has. So what type of cash is this type of talent obtaining per year? If you guess $10 million a year, you'd be incorrect because it's $20 million a year. Not...
Oh wow. Really? I've never even heard of this person. Like, what the hell, man? I really need to start a goddamn podcast.
Not including brand deals, just by having a podcast. Including brand deals, it's much more than $20 million per year, but I could not say that number without audibly gagging. Next up, Stephen Bartlett from the podcast Diary of a CEO. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but that title makes me want to kill him. In 2021, he said he was getting $1.2 million per year, and this was just off his YouTube videos, which were getting 200,000 views per video. But now all his videos get 1 million views, so we can only assume that he's making
making more money.
$6 million per year for making CEOs cry, I guess. I think that's what he does.
Jesus.
Not a bad way to make a living. And finally, we have Mark Maron, the original podcaster that everyone was obsessed with for a couple of years. It's kind of hard to find statistics on how much he makes, but I know he's getting on average 300,000 downloads.
Oh shit, he's sitting down with the president. Or ex-president. Holy shit. That's crazy.
Per episode, and doing the math, 1,000 downloads on 25 CPM, he'll make $75,000 an episode and 2 episodes a week, so he's getting $7.8 million a year by making podcasts. I need to make a fucking podcast.
Yeah. Bro, I'll make one with you. Hey, just DM me, bro. I got you. Okay, part 4. Podcasts that are worth listening to.
So in an attempt to stop giving podcasters that I don't like attention, I went through the rabbit hole and I found some podcasts that are barely listened to that deserve a lot more credit because they're doing some pretty wild shit. These podcasts are by definition niche and obscure, but I feel like someone watching this video is gonna really enjoy what they have to offer. I did, so who knows? Up first, we have Sitting on the Couch with Comedy Convicts. It's exactly what you think. It's a podcast where 3 comedians that all happen to spend some time in jail talk for a little bit. They tell like the most fucked up stories and they're constantly just ribbing. I love these guys, and they only get 100 views per episode, which is fucked up. If you like Joey Diaz and how he says the wildest stories out of nowhere, it's pretty much that constantly. These guys just have the best stories, so I suggest you listen to them. This one is by far my favorite. I don't know if anyone's gonna like it, but it's
You like how in the beginning of the episode he started out with he was bitching, complaining about people suggesting podcasts to him, and now at the end of the video he's just suggesting podcasts to me. That's a good little callback joke. But well, here's the thing about when it comes to entertainment, you as a person, a singular person, you do not get to say what is and is not entertaining. The consumer base as a whole, like morphing amalgamation of just consumers, they get to say what is and is not entertaining. Now, there is some, I guess, some sort of argument to be had by, and it goes like, just because something is present doesn't make it good. We're just waiting around for something of quality to come around, and in the meantime, there's just this thing that's here. So there is like a statement like that I can kind of see, but I mean, for the most part, man, as long as there's like a bunch of different like categories and like things like people are just sitting down and bullshitting to, it's like I don't really think it matters what people watch. It doesn't really matter.
Shannon's lumber industry updates. Are you not thrilled? It's this very wholesome man with this very soothing voice called Shannon Rogers. He just wants to update the world on the lumber industry, and boy does the world need an update on the lumber industry, honestly. He's a self-proclaiming wood nerd, which I'm not gonna make fun of him. If I was in high school, I would make a boner joke. I'm not. I'm very proud of this man. He's just so passionate. Shit. He has 10,000 followers on Twitter and gets between 5 and 10,000 listeners per episode, but if you need something to like fall asleep to or just feel good for a little bit, I suggest you listen to this podcast. Now, the craziest one I could find is the Northwoods Baseball Sleep Radio. This one is like a Black Mirror episode or like a Twilight Zone episode. It is so wild. The whole point of this podcast is to put you to sleep, and the way he does that is that he creates a whole 2-hour fake baseball game with no ads, no interruptions, no yelling, just here's the count. Just keeps it real chill. He's got this like
bro, no one is going around fact checking this guy to see if the games are fake or not. In all honesty, he is probably using some random ass games as like a framework and just calling it like that. Okay? It's fucking baseball. How much variability can there be in baseball, all right?
Vintage voice that he does. It's incredible how much effort you have to put in to do something like this. Each episode only has like a few hundred views on YouTube. It deserves way more. I don't know who the audience is for this, but it's definitely
people that are trying to go to sleep and they just let the video play. All right, so he gets his view up like that, you know? People are trying to go to sleep. They like baseball. They hit play and then they just doze off. And meanwhile, the video just runs in its entirety. And depending on whether or not people have autoplay on, the next episode just rolls. All right? And it all compounds.
Really relaxing.
Sudden special announcement.
So real quick, I have an announcement for you guys that I've been really excited for, and I didn't just think about doing this right now. I'm launching a podcast. Because
Tug Talks with a bunch of hot dogs. Oh my God.
Fuck it. Everyone else is doing it. It's an 89-part podcast on the history of the hot dog. Whatever. I looked into the eyes of the profitability of the podcast market, and I'm selling out. I've been waiting to sell out. I'm not kidding. You can preview the episode. It's up. You can go check it out. I didn't just do this while I was recording this. I didn't do this at all. Link is in the bio. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for checking out my podcast. Thanks for subscribing and clicking that bell. New episodes every Friday of this show. Maybe new podcast episodes every Friday.
Oh my God.
I would like to be rich. Can I get it? Ooh,
Kitty.
Ooh. Hello.
Oh my God. This was so fucking funny. Oh my God. I did not know I needed this from Big Doug. Oh my God. This is so funny, man. Jeez, bro. It is kind of funny how there are a laundry list of podcasts now, and there is about a podcast for any type of thing that you can imagine, for any type of hobby. And I don't know. I think that's fine. I mean, we live in a fucking world of like where so much information is just easily gettable from, I don't know, any source you want. I mean, I think it's fine to have a bunch of podcasts. It's whatever. But god dang, this video was funny. I liked it a bunch, man. But yeah, that's about it. And I'll catch you guys on the next one, all right? See ya.